Have you ever felt that chilling sensation creeping down your spine? The unmistakable feeling of being watched, followed, hunted? I sure have. In today's video, I'll share stories of people just like you and me who didn't realize they were being trailed until it was almost too late. These creeps leave no one alone. And I have some stalkers who refuse to back down. These are cases that will make you check over your shoulder twice. Number 1. A woman was followed by a guy who bought her drinks at a bar. In 2019, a woman named Jane Doe went to a place called El Jefe, a bar at night and a restaurant during the day. After being there for just an hour, the staff thought she was too drunk to stay, so a man with red shoes escorted her out. This was strange because, usually, only people with connections to the establishment could access the back door. The man allegedly drugged her and essayed her behind the club in some dumpsters. Later, she was found unconscious and taken to the hospital. While this was happening, 2 El Jefe employees stood nearby but didn't help her. Jane Doe later sued the bar. Another person decided to sue El Jefe weeks later, claiming that back in 2014, she went through the same thing, and the staff didn't help. Because of the outrage and a petition to revoke their alcohol license, the branch had to close down in 2024. Number 2. Woman narrowly escapes after being followed. Late one night, a 50-year-old woman from the Bronx got home from work around 2 a.m. She noticed 2 suspicious men hanging around near her building, but didn't think anything of it. Unaware, she went inside, and one of the men followed her. Sadly, the building door was unlocked, so he almost followed her right into her apartment. The security camera caught the moment she sensed him and hurried inside, narrowly avoiding a dangerous encounter just by a matter of milliseconds. Number 3. Teenager almost kidnapped. As this 17-year-old walked home from school, a strange man began following her. She didn't notice him at first until he tried to grab her. Thankfully, she managed to twist and break free, but he tried again. After his second attempt, he finally walked away. A neighbor's CCTV camera recorded the whole incident, including the man's car. With the way he walked up to her, you might think he knew her, but no. This man was a total stranger and definitely a creep. Number 4. Streamer saves a girl from being harassed. This Twitch streamer, robsd, was showing his equipment on camera when something unexpected happened. His camera captured a girl walking with a guy who seemed to be her friend or partner at first, but it turns out that wasn't the case at all. The guy accompanying her was actually following her and not leaving her alone. When the girl noticed the streamer, she probably thought she'd be safer since the camera was on, so she approached him, pretending to be the streamer's friend. Even though the streamer looked confused because he didn't know her, he played along until the guy left her alone. Just like the streamer, the girl was also a tourist in Japan and was being followed by this creep. Thankfully, she managed to escape unharmed. Number 5. Criminals enter the backyard. These 4 creeps thought they could break in from the backyard, but got quickly scared off by the motion-activated cameras. If only all cases ended like this. Number 6. Thief to be gets tased. These people were in a car carrying some pretty expensive stuff. The girl had her hands on a pricey phone, while the guy had a sleek MacBook Pro. Now in Africa, all these products in their currency hold a lot of value. They're literally like gold. It didn't take long for the trouble to come knocking. They passed through a busy area when a shady guy started following them. He kept at it for a good 10 minutes. It seemed like he had his eyes set on the girl, probably because the guy's window was now shut tight. But just when the thief thought he had an easy grab at the phone, he got a shocking surprise. Literally. Just in a matter of seconds, as he attempted to grab the girl's phone, the guy in the back seat zapped him with a taser, and he had the audacity to laugh it off like what he did was no big deal. Some people are just downright crazy. Number 7. Racists refuse to leave the table. Gianni, a streamer, went to a restaurant in Berlin for dinner. Some guys from another table moved over to hers and sat really close to her. They didn't just invade her space, but they also did, and said racist things to her. It's really sad and disappointing to see grown men act so immaturely. No one deserves to be insulted like that. We're all the same inside, and people need to realize that. These guys didn't even feel sorry and laughed it off like it was funny. Creeps like them deserve the worst. Number 8. Man tries to force the door open and loses his life. In Escambia County, Florida, a 54-year-old man broke into a house by kicking the front door after several tries before he finally succeeded in entering. He had a knife and was yelling that he wanted to hurt a woman. The woman in question was none other than the mother of his children. He searched through the rooms, threatening the people inside who had hidden in a bedroom at the back of the house. Then he confronted a woman in that bedroom who shot him twice in self-defense, taking his life on the spot. The man already had a restraining order against him for domestic violence. He was supposed to be going to anger management classes when this happened. Since the woman acted in self-defense, she wasn't charged with a crime. Number 9. Creep follows women through the streets of Japan. Eligato, a Twitch streamer, was out celebrating Halloween night in Shibuya, Japan, when things took a scary turn. A man started to follow her around, but she didn't realize she was being followed for a good minute. At first, she brushed off the feeling of being followed, thinking it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. But as the man's presence became undeniably intentional, her heart sank with realization. She asked her friend to rush forward to reach the friend's husband. The stalker didn't stop even for a second and continued to follow both the girls for quite a while. And every time they thought they had finally managed to outrun him, he was right there, lurking in the background. What a creep! The saddest part is that despite the rush of people they passed, not a single one came forward to help them out. That is until one guy spotted their distress and figured out what was happening. The man, showing genuine concern for their safety, chose to accompany them to a secure location until law enforcement could intervene. The man who followed Eligato was eventually arrested by the police, and hopefully, he faced the consequences of his actions. However, this incident could have ended in a much worse way if not for the swift action of the man who intervened. Number 10. Man follows a woman in broad daylight and tackles her to the ground. In Brooklyn, a 35-year-old woman was walking along the street when she didn't realize a man was following her. Taking advantage of that, he tackled her from behind, which made the woman stumble and fall forward, knocking her to the ground. He then put his hand inside her shorts and touched her inappropriately. As soon as she tried to fight back, the man got up and ran away. Thankfully, the woman didn't suffer any physical injuries, but the trauma was real. Number 11. Stalker stands still outside the window, motionless for an hour. Imagine you're at home, relaxing, trying to just enjoy your time off, when you just happen to look outside, and there's a creepy guy just standing there, not moving at all. You think to yourself, oh, he's probably waiting for someone, but no, he refuses to leave, just standing there like a statue, and he continues to do so for half an hour. That's exactly what happened with this guy. He recorded the footage as evidence for the police, but half an hour after the call, he looked outside, and the creep was still there, staring at the window.
I kind of didn't really pay that much attention to him before, because sometimes people go back there like to talk on their phone.
It's not just creepy, but downright scary to have someone lingering like that with no explanation whatsoever. Number 12. Manager follows the YouTuber around the store. Bramty Juliet, who runs the Bramfam channel on YouTube, went shopping at a furniture store. While there, the manager started following her. We can't be sure why he was following her. Maybe he was worried about theft, or perhaps he wanted to make sure they didn't cause any trouble since she was carrying a camera. Then again, maybe he just wanted to help them pick out furniture. But something felt really off about the whole scenario. How unsettling. It does kind of give off a creepy vibe, almost like he's stalking her. Number 13. 5-year-old boy defends mother. In a scary moment caught on camera, 5-year-old David Johnson bravely faced a group of invaders who forced an entry into the house, wearing hoods and carrying guns. Another kid had opened the door, and suddenly, 4 of them rushed inside. Instead of being afraid, the little guy knew just what to do to protect his mom. He grabbed a toy car and threw it at one of the men with a gun, making him run away. Even though it was risky, David followed the man and tried to help his mom. He even grabbed the man's arm and tried to pull him away. That took a lot of courage. It's amazing how brave David was in such a scary situation, especially when the situation involved dangerous strangers. Number 14. Woman gets stalked twice back-to-back. It was a strange morning for this YouTuber. She went to get coffee for breakfast and noticed a guy giving her a creepy smile. To make things weirder, he winked at her when he knew she was looking. After getting her coffee, she left the shop. But when she stopped at a traffic light, she saw another guy in a car next to hers, staring at her in a creepy way. When grown men proceed to behave this creepily in front of young girls, it's just the worst thing ever. And this girl knew that. Feeling uneasy, she even took a wrong turn in a rush to get away from him. Luckily, she ended up okay. Number 15. Creep stalks and makes advances toward a 6-year-old. In 2022, a man from Florida named Mark Greenberg faced accusations of making unsettling comments to a 6-year-old child, with multiple neighbors supporting the claims. Deputies were called to Greenberg's neighborhood after a father reported that Greenberg had approached his daughter, who was playing outside, and said strange things to her. Not to mention the 6-year-old often visited her grandmother's house in another neighborhood. It was reported that Greenberg had parked outside the grandmother's house on multiple occasions and even proceeded to take pictures. Since he had no reason to know where she lived and was never invited there, the family suspected that Greenberg had followed someone to the location. Following the accusations and obtaining a warrant, deputies from the Deltona Crime Suppression Team arrested Greenberg. Despite their efforts, Greenberg made excuses, such as claiming he never left his home, proclaiming innocence, or even delaying the arrest by making the excuse of not wearing shoes. The officers truly had a lot of patience to deal with this creepy, pathetic excuse of a man, because I most definitely wouldn't. Greenberg was taken to the Volusia County Branch Jail, where he remained in custody with a bond set at $5,000 as of the time of this video. Number 16. Biker saves a girl. As soon as he heard a scream, this biker quickly turned on his camera. Shortly after, he spotted a woman running towards him with a guy who seemed really angry, following closely behind. Luckily, this biker had a kind heart, unlike the angry guy who seemed to be under the influence of something. It wasn't until the biker firmly told the guy to leave, claiming the woman as his girlfriend, that the creep finally backed off. I can't even imagine how the girl would have gotten away if it weren't for the biker stepping in. Even after the creep left, the girl was visibly shaken. The biker stayed with her, comforting her, and made sure she got home safely. Number 17. Creep stalks a tourist in market. This creepy guy, wearing blue, started following this tourist named Seda Nur as she was walking around the markets. He just wouldn't give up. Every time it seemed like he was gone, he was actually one step ahead, waiting for her to pass so he could start following her again. He kept at it for a long time, but Seda didn't notice him at all while the footage was being recorded. Once she did notice him, she turned off the camera, watched the footage to make sure it was him, and confronted him, which eventually made him back off. But what's really sad is that another kid, about 12 years old, not only started following her, but even made inappropriate gestures towards her. Number 18. Streamer stops a creep from following a girl. They say that sometimes having the right person in the wrong place can change everything. Rob Stee was going about his day when he noticed another creep. Without hesitation, he decided to distract him by taking a picture together. He could probably distract a Disney villain and do it with a smile. Let's hope the girl is safe now. Number 19. Persistent stalker refuses to leave even around people.
Oh my God.
Twitch streamer Jake was hanging out with his friends when a girl he didn't know approached him out of the blue. At first, he was surprised, not recognizing her. But when he noticed a man following the girl, he quickly put his arm around her to make it seem like they were familiar. However, the stalker didn't give up easily. He didn't care that the girl was with other people. It seemed like he was just waiting for her to leave. How shameless of him to stare right at the camera and stand there as if he had some kind of invisibility potion. The fact that he was standing so close and not even trying to hide it is terrifying. I can't even imagine what he would do if there was no one else around. Number 20. Guy tries to kidnap an 11-year-old. This is the moment a kind stranger intervened and rescued an 11-year-old girl from a potential abduction on the street during the daytime. The girl was walking in southeast London around noon when a man noticed she was alone and didn't waste a moment to approach her. He tried to persuade her to go with him, but a passerby noticed that the little girl seemed uncomfortable and quickly took her to a nearby shop. Honestly, this is the perfect demo of how being ignorant when you see something suspicious isn't right, especially when someone's safety is at risk. Number 21. Suspects follow a couple home after an evening walk. A couple were walking home when two people, a man and a woman, started following them all the way to their front door. Suddenly, the man pulled out a gun and aimed it right at them. Thankfully, the couple rushed inside and locked the door just in time. If they hadn't acted quickly, who knows what could have happened? Their quick thinking probably saved them from a dangerous confrontation. They fled both scenes in a silver SUV. Only 5 minutes later, and just half a mile away, the same man and woman are believed to have robbed another person at gunpoint. Number 22. Asian student attacked in London. A streamer was asking for directions when he suddenly heard someone yelling for help. Without thinking twice about his own safety, he rushed to the scene faster than anyone else. It seems like the person in trouble was likely targeted in a hate crime as he was followed, pushed off his bike, and then brutally attacked. This streamer deserves some serious kudos for his quick thinking and bravery. It's reassuring to know there are still good-hearted people out there who aren't afraid to lend a hand when it really counts. Number 23. Drunk guy forcefully grabs a woman. Twitch streamer Eligato is doing her thing, recording some content, when out of nowhere, this drunk dude comes stumbling in, invading her personal space, and starts grabbing and touching her. Now, some might say she should have just shoved the guy away, but let's be real here. In shock, it's not always easy to process what's happening, and just how creepy can someone be? Number 24. Guy follows trucker. This content creator, Alex Nino, was driving in his truck in San Francisco when he noticed another car following him closely. He got suspicious when the driver started waving and telling him to pull over. Alex felt something wasn't right and decided not to stop, especially because it was late at night and he was worried about his safety. He managed to lose the other driver for a bit by pretending to turn, but the guy caught up with him again. They exchanged a few words, but Alex stayed cautious, not fully trusting the stranger, even though he claimed to be a fan. I mean, it's never not smart to stay alert, even when someone seems friendly. Although the other driver didn't do anything illegal, following someone for about 25 minutes, I would definitely say it's creepy and unsettling. Number 25. Guy enters the park and threatens kids for no reason. People can be really strange, seriously, and if you need proof, this encounter is it. This guy walked into a skate park where kids were hanging out and suddenly started threatening one of them for absolutely no reason. And when he didn't get a reaction from that kid, he went after another one who happened to be recording the whole thing. But here's where things get worse. This smart kid wasted no time in calling the cops as soon as things started to get out of hand. It was like the situation went from 0 to 100 in just seconds. I mean, seriously, what was this guy even doing there? Trying to start a fight with kids? Downright pathetic.
Police are on the way. I hope
And
you
it
know
didn't
that.
stop there. Not only did he keep acting aggressively, but he
You
also
touched me.
started
You're-
chasing the teenager around.
You touched me. You're-
But thankfully,
He's trying to
the cops
fight
showed
everybody.
up pretty quickly and put an end to the madness by taking him into custody. Number 26. Oblivious victim followed for several minutes. A woman was walking alone at night in Greater Manchester, unaware of the danger lurking behind her. For several minutes, a suspect followed her down a dark street. At first, he trailed her while pushing a bike, but later, he was spotted still pursuing her at a junction, this time without the bike. The man wore a baseball cap, a gray polo shirt, dark pants, and white trainers. Between 10:55 p.m. and 11:05 p.m. on August 18th, this unsuspecting woman is grabbed from behind on Fern Street in Bolton. The man holds a knife to her cheek and drags her down an alley. Miraculously, she manages to break free and call the police before the man can escape. In the final clip, captured after the attack, he's seen retracing his steps back to the same junction, alone, just 100 yards away from Fern Street. But here's the really scary part. There's evidence to suggest that this wasn't his first attempt. He may have tried to snatch another woman on the same night. Number 27. Man tries to follow teen into home. One evening, a teenager came back home in Ahwatukee. Little did he know, someone was watching him from a red car parked across the road. The man followed the teen and drove his car into the teenager's driveway, likely planning to hurt him.
But the door
But
is
when he
locked.
tried to open the door,
The man keeps releasing
it was
this video
locked.
and blurring his face
He
because
kept
they say
trying to
as of
break
now,
in until they saw a
no
ring
crime has
camera.
been identified.
Just goes on to show how a moment's decision could potentially save your life. Number 28. Fake rideshare driver follows woman into the elevator. The victim was coming back from a night out and hopped into what she thought was her taxi through a ride-sharing app. But turns out it wasn't her ride. When they got to her house, the driver demanded money, but she refused, saying she'd already paid using the app. She even told him to call the police if he wanted, but he needed to back off. You can see the man wearing dark clothes approaching the woman as she's unlocking her building. Later, in the elevator, the guy tried to swipe the woman's purse, but thankfully, he didn't succeed. Then, police say, the man went into the woman's house and also took her cell phone. She only realized she hadn't confirmed her taxi order when she got a new phone and checked her app history. This is a reminder to always be careful and double-check before getting into any car, especially at night. Number 29. Man trespasses. Women's showers and toilets. This 64-year-old man followed women into toilets, even a staff toilet at a shopping center in Claremont. And that's not all. He also allegedly followed women into a shower area at a backpacker hostel. They've charged the creep with 5 counts of indecent acts in public and 1 count of trespassing. Thankfully, because the thought of a creep like this roaming freely is just disturbing to the core. Number 30. Robber follows a woman into lift. An unidentified woman was being stalked by John Ganabik. He followed her into a shopping mall elevator and then to the parking lot. As she ran to her car, he chased after her, trying to attack her and leaving her fearing for her safety. But she fought back, pulling out her Beretta gun from her handbag and firing at him. Sweet, sweet defense. And that wraps up today's video. Remember, always trust your instincts and stay alert. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hair-raising content. Stay safe out there, and until next time, watch your back.